Hi everyone, this is Stephan, here to help you refine your kinetic intelligence. In this video, we're going to cover some of the benefits and challenges of various sleeping positions, and I'll give you some tips for how to improve them. I'm going to cover some questions that are commonly asked, like, what position is the best position and why? And if I can't sleep in that position, what are some of my options to improve the ones that I'm currently doing? So, let's dive in. Alright, so before we talk about what the ideal sleeping position is and why, let's explore what the most common sleeping position is and why, as well as why it could actually be working against you in certain ways. So, side sleeping is the most common. One of the reasons why is because it brings us back into a comforting state. Think of when you were in your womb. You might not remember, but you were there. Being in this, what we refer to often as the fetal position, is a very soothing and comforting position to be in. So, let's explore some of the challenges of this position. Why don't we start with one of the reasons that a lot of people don't realize? Wrinkles. So as you can see, when I'm on my side and my face is pressing into the pillow like this, what I'm unintentionally creating is a lot of creasing through my face. Some people might not care so much, others might care a lot. Now the thing is, after about 3 hours of being in any given position, the fascia will start to adapt and model to that position. So unfortunately, you might actually be creating more wrinkles for yourself than you'd like. So that's one thing. Another reason why this could potentially be detrimental is when we look at our chest, we're creating more congestion and compression through this zone. Now, we've got a region here known as the brachial plexus, which is a bundle of nerves and arteries, which many of them reach all the way down into the hands. And so, what can happen, think about it. You're already throughout the day looking at your phone, driving, behind the computer, eating, doing a lot of things that tend to draw our shoulders and our necks and heads forward. Now, being in this position, I'm also promoting that further, which allows the fascia in my body to start to model to this position and really encase me in this forward head carriage position. A third reason why this isn't ideal is because when we look at our body in terms of drainage channels, the lymphatic system has a few main drainage zones. Mainly the armpits and the groin. And when we're in this position, we're creating congestions there. So it makes it a little bit harder for nutrient and waste exchange to take place throughout the body. So creating more stagnant zones, put it that way, which can make us more prone to things like chronic inflammation. And a fourth reason that this might be detrimental for you in the long term, this isn't for everyone because some people sleep on their side with their knees stacked, but there are some that sleep in what I call the kickstand position, where one leg is straighter out to the side and then the other one is launched forward to kind of keep you on your side. In first aid, this is called the recovery position. Now, one of the issues with this, short term, it's not such a big deal, but in the long term, this can cause issues with your hips and how they balance and stack. You see, when I have one leg out to the side, it creates a little bit of a torque in my hips, and that could cause some issues for you, especially around your SI joint, so your sacroiliac joint. That's where your base of your spine meets your hips. So, with all that said, how can we improve the side sleeping position to make our lives a little easier? Well, one thing right away, to support spinal alignment and integrity, I do encourage you to have a thicker pillow, which is what this is. You see how it prevents my head from flopping to the side. If I have a thin pillow, this is going to be an issue. So that's one thing you can do. Another thing you can do is either get a body pillow, or you could have two pillows. One for your chest, and that will prevent your top arm from collapsing forward and further congesting the zone. And in fact, if you don't have any injuries to your shoulder that you need to be worried about, I do recommend you sleep on your non-dominant, uninjured side. The reason I say that is because the non-dominant side tends to be less forward rolled and uninjured, because the shoulder that's on the bottom is the one that's going to receive more pressure and more force over the course of the night. So we want to try and minimize the amount of forward roll and congestion that our shoulders get. So it's a way of helping balance things out. So that's the arm. The reason I have a pillow here on my legs, it's not so much for people who are the stacked leg side sleepers. That's okay, you don't necessarily need a pillow. Maybe a thin cushion or a thin sheet just to prevent that bone-on-bone aggravation if you have that. It's more so if you're the person who sleeps in this side kickstand position, then it's worth having a pillow here. It's going to prevent your hips from collapsing forward and twisting. So again, it could be one body pillow, or it could just be one pillow where you sleep with legs stacked and shoulder supported here. One thing that some people will do as well is sleep with that top arm on their body on their side. Again, what you're preventing is excess congestion as a result of the shoulders rolling forward. So those are some ways you can optimize the side sleeping position. Unfortunately, there's nothing you can do about the wrinkle piece, unless maybe you draw your face over like this. Okay, so now let's move on to the next sleeping position. What is the ideal sleeping position for most body types? On your back. So let's explore why. There's several reasons. One is because it'll help reduce the amount of wrinkling that will occur in your face. This won't be such a big deal for some, and it might be a really big deal for others. So that's something to factor in. Two, what we're also doing in this position is we're allowing gravity to now reset our muscle and joints back to a more neutral, harmonized state. Because think about it. Throughout the day, you've been maybe cooking, driving, looking at your phone, looking at the computer, causing all this forward head carriage, all this forward shoulder roll to occur. And now when you go to bed for 6 to 8 hours, you have an opportunity to allow gravity to reset your body position passively while you sleep. Restore this length through the upper shoulders. The other thing that we're getting from this position is we're not really causing any congestion zones. So what I mean by that is when I'm on my side, I'm compressing at my hip flexors, I'm compressing at my shoulders, I'm causing a few stagnant zones to occur. When I'm on my back with my legs forward and my arms out, I'm now allowing my body to circulate blood and circulate lymph much more efficiently. What that means is I'm getting better nutrient waste exchange throughout my body. And again, will help me manage chronic inflammation and also help improve my body's ability to heal as I sleep. So I realize this is not an easy position for everyone to be in if it's not natural to you. So let's explore a few ways that we can improve this sleeping position. For one, let's look at the head. You definitely don't want a thicker pillow when you're in this position. On your side, you do, because you need to compensate for this span from your shoulder to your head to maintain the integrity of the alignment. When you're on your back, if I had a thick pillow, I would actually be thrusting my head forward. I don't want that. So when you're on your back, ideally you want a thin or no pillow. And with a thin pillow, you'll notice that's more so for people who really have more of a forward head carriage. No pillow can work, but the reason I say not necessarily for everyone is if you're the type of person who has a lot of forward head carriage, if you lie back without a pillow, this might occur. And this is not going to do you any service because it's actually going to help create more congestion at the base of the skull around the suboccipital muscles. So you're better off to have a thin pillow. Most people are better off just with a thin pillow. And what you can even do to improve it just a little bit more is notch yourself up so the tops of your shoulders are just on them. And that's going to prevent that that kinking of the neck that could occur. Okay, what else? Well, being on your back for some people will cause low back pain. The reason that occurs is because if you have tight hip flexors, then being in this lengthened state will actually cause a pull at your low back. And see this diagram and you'll understand why. Because you can see how your hip flexors actually directly connect to all 5 vertebrae in your low back. So if you have tight hip flexors, it's gonna pull at your low back. And in fact, a lot of office workers that I've worked on over the years who complain of low back pain, many of them, after working through the hip flexors, feel great relief in their low back. All that being said, if you are the type of person that does experience low back pain, being in this position, here's how you can offset that issue. Simply by putting a little pillow under your knees. When you do that, you shorten up your hip flexors a little bit so that they're not going to be so prone to tugging at your low back. The other advantage of being in this position with the pillow is that it gives you a psychological cue and reminder to stay on your back. All right, so if being on your back is not natural, what you may notice is after about 15 minutes in this position, your body will start to demand that you go back to what's more familiar. And this used to be a very big challenge for me. And the way I found to get around that challenge is by putting on a guided meditation tape that's anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes. The reason for that is because as I follow along with this meditation, by the time it ends, I found out that one of 2 things would happen. Either I would fall asleep, in which case, great, that's exactly what I wanted, or I find myself in a very comfortable, restful state, and it's much, much easier for me to remain in this position. So give those strategies a try. What I will say too is if you are in the process of trying to sleep on your back and your main tendency is to be on your side, don't be surprised if sometime during the night you roll over onto your side. So for that reason, I encourage you to sleep with a thin pillow. The reason being is when you're on your back, perfect, you've got what you need. But when you end up rotating onto your side, what you can then do, not only what you just saw me do with my knees there, sliding the pillow through the legs, but I can also fold this pillow over. And now I can maintain that spinal alignment through my neck and for my head. All right, there's still one more sleeping position that I haven't mentioned, and that's the belly sleeper. This is something that quite a few people do enjoy doing. However, it can cause all kinds of issues for compression through the neck that your body will not appreciate in the long run. If you absolutely insist on remaining as a side sleeper, some things you can do is either have a really thin pillow or no pillow, so you have less compression through the neck, or you might even opt to buy a massage table. The reason I say that is because on those tables, they will generally have a face rest cradle where you can be fully on your stomach and still maintain the integrity of your spinal alignment and breathe fully and freely throughout the night. However, one of the issues that you might not be too happy about is that you will likely end up with a pretty big crease through your face as a result of being in that face cradle throughout the night. But hey, there's always options, there's always ways. I'm just trying to help you on your journey. To make things a little easier next time you watch this video, I've included some timestamps below in the description that will allow you to jump over to any section that you want to review. And if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone who you think could benefit from this information. And please note, I'm also available for one-on-one sessions. You can reach me through my website at kimovement.io. And with that said, good health to you and your thoughts. We'll see you again.